Hi, this is Shauna for the Iron Shauna project where we're cooking well using only ingredients on hand. So I had a funny thing happen at the food bank recently. I was in line behind a woman who was being a little picky about her eggplant, and she was taking too long, and it looked like she was actually trying to finagle more than one. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll hand you, the volunteers will hand you one or a set amount of something, and that's it. And you have to move along as quickly as possible, especially when they have long lines out the door and it's freezing outside. Long story short, the guy got really testy with the woman, and he shoved one in her hand, moved her along, and then shoved one in my hand before I knew, what I had in my hands. I actually don't care for eggplant. I would have actually said no thank you. In this case, I just went ahead and took it, so here I have this nice big eggplant. You can probably see it better over there. It's a little, I'm going to end up cutting off some pieces there, but otherwise pretty good looking. And I got some ginger, and I happen to already have cumin on hand, some garlic, and this is a yellow pepper. What I found, and the reason I have all these ingredients out, is a recipe that is supposed to be good for people who don't like eggplant. So this is a true experiment tonight. Okay, first thing is turning the oven up to 400, so I'm set that, it's preheating now. Second thing is it says line a heavy baking sheet with foil. What I have here is actually not foil, it's parchment paper on a baking sheet, so we're just going to go with that. And we're going to cut the eggplant in half and brush the cut sides with the oil. Okay, so I've got my two halves, and I've oiled the cut sides, and you can see I've cut some pieces off of it just to make sure that it's all good. And the oven is now at 400, so I'm going to go ahead and stick these in. It looks like we're baking this until the cut sides are browned and the eggplant is soft, and they think that'll be about 25 minutes. Okay, so now that the eggplant is baking away in the oven, 400 degrees, 25 minutes, we're going to take the tablespoon of garlic, the floating tablespoon of garlic. There's better definition of it. Oops, and dropping it on the cutting board. All right, so we're going to put that in our skillet here with the other tablespoon of oil. So here's the trusty sesame oil. And as it turned out, I had taken a whole head of garlic and chopped it up, and that equaled about 2 tablespoons. So did I say chopped? I meant minced. I put the other tablespoon in a container. This was just a leftover container from something else. And the same with my grated ginger. I had an extra tablespoon that I'm just going to keep in the fridge in a reused container for the next dish that might call for minced garlic or grated ginger. While I'm waiting for the garlic to sizzle in the skillet, it looks like it might take the whole time that the eggplant is in the oven for the garlic to sizzle, because on low it just takes a while. I have my grated ginger already in the tablespoon, and I have my teaspoon of cumin all measured out. When the garlic starts sizzling in the skillet, then I'll add the cumin, stir it all together, and take it off the heat. And that's when the eggplant comes out, and we'll play with that. The eggplant came out of the oven. I scooped it out of the outer skin and took it out and cut it up on the cutting board. And what we're going to do now is add this in the skillet with the oil and garlic and cumin. Okay, and now that the eggplant is in the skillet, we're going to add the tablespoon of ginger and the 1/4 cup of, in this case, yellow pepper or red pepper if you have it. So now that I have blended everything together in the skillet, I'm noticing that either A, I did not chop my eggplant finely enough according to the directions, or maybe it's just that I prefer a little less texture to my eggplant, which is part of the reason why I don't like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit on low heat in the skillet, until it gets pretty soft. And before it becomes too burnt or anything, I'm just going to stick it in a blender and puree everything together, because I think the flavor will be much more attractive to me as opposed to the texture. So that is my plan, and let me show you what the skillet looks like right now. So yum! There it is, finished product. It looks a little bit like hummus. It has a slightly different consistency than hummus. A little bit more toward actual eggplant, but less than actual eggplant. So I may slice up an apple and put a dollop of this on top, or I may make some tortilla chips. Look at my previous video about making tortilla chips if that sounds good to you. Yeah, enjoy! Put that in a skillet with some oil, and do that with okay, let's try that again. If that makes sense. We have the insistent kitty back again. Yes. So I may just cut up an apple and put this on top. Shh, kitty kitty. You done?